Hey y'all, this is chapter 7. It's all the exponent rules. So we are going to learn a couple each day. So today we're just going to do 2, and then after we learn all of the exponent rules, there's 8 total. We'll go over 7 of them. Then we'll put them all together, and that's what your next quiz will be over. So today, the 2 rules that we are learning are the 0 and the exponent rules. All right, so the 0 rule is anything to the power of 0 is always 1. Which might sound a little confusing, right? Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Some people think it would be 0. Well, when you're adding, 0 does mean nothing, right? But exponents are multiplication. And in multiplication, 1 actually means nothing because the number that you multiply by that does nothing would be 1. So anything to the power of 0 is 1. Also, to simplify, you can't have negative exponents. So to get rid of a negative exponent, you take it to the other side and you make it positive. So to get rid of a negative exponent, if it was on the bottom, you move it to the top and make it positive. If it was on the top, you move it to the bottom and you make it positive. All right, so here we are simplifying, right? We are simplifying. So I have 3p to the negative 3. I can't have negative exponents, so I move it to the bottom and I make it positive. So the 3 would stay on top. It'd be p to the positive 3 on bottom. So the 2 things that we can run into today that we have to take care of is 0 exponents and negative exponents. So number 2, we have r to the negative 4. Well, it's negative, so you'd have to move it. So it becomes r to the positive 4 on the bottom. You can't have a fraction without a top, so you put a 1. So it'd be 1 over r to the 4. Number 3, 2b to the negative 4. You can't have negative exponents, so you make it positive and move it to the other side. So 2 stays on top. It'd be b to the positive 4 on bottom. Number 4, we have 2x to the 0. Well, x to the 0 is 1. Multiplying by 1 doesn't do anything, so I just cross it out, and I'm just left with 2, right? Because it would have been like 2 times 1, x to the 0 is 1. 2 times 1 is just 2. So that power of 0 actually doesn't do anything. All right, number 5, 2x to the negative 1, y to the negative 2. Well, the x's have negative exponents. They're going to have to move. Same thing with the y's. So the 2 stays. It'd be x to the positive 1 on top. Positive 1 on bottom, my bad. The x's move. Typically, we don't write an exponent of positive 1. And it'd be y to the positive 2 on bottom. Number 6, x, y to the negative 3. To get rid of a negative exponent, you move it. So x stays. It becomes y to the positive 3 on the bottom in the denominator. 7, 2u to the negative 3, v to the negative 2. I'm going to have to move the u's and the v's because they have negative exponents. So 2 stays on top. It'd be u to the positive 3, v to the positive 2 on the bottom in the denominator. Number 8, 2x to the 0, y to the negative 3. Well, x to the 0 is 1. Multiplying by 1 doesn't do anything. I'd move my negative exponents. So I have 2 over y to the positive 3. So anything to the power of 0 is 1. So it's not doing anything. And to get rid of the negative exponent, you make it positive by moving it to the other side. So on number 9, I can see my z's have a negative exponent, so they move. So the 3xy cubed gets to stay on top. It becomes z to the positive 2 in the denominator on the bottom. Number 10, I can see the p's have a negative exponent, so they have to move. So it stays 3q cubed r squared on the top. It'd be p to the positive 4 on the bottom in the denominator. Number 11, I can see y to the 0 is going to be 1. Multiplying by 1 does nothing, so I cross it off. My x's have a negative exponent, they move. Z's have a negative exponent, so they're going to move. So 2 stays on top. It becomes x to the positive 4, z to the positive 1, which we don't typically write. Oh, can't forget the smile. And the last one, I can see my x's have a negative exponent, so they're going to have to move. So I have 3z on top. X to the positive 4 on bottom. So then you can find a worksheet on the next page that goes over the same concepts for you to do on your own. Make sure you master these two properties. Anything to the power of 0 is 1, and to get rid of a negative exponent, you make it positive by moving it to the other side.